LGD plus Primal is a very good combination together, if that's what Bet-Boom are looking to set up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would like that. I think one of the more annoying heroes to play against in Dota as Undying is Primal Beast. You don't do anything to him, and like you pop the ult, and you're like, oh, look how tanky I am. Primal straight up just like tramples on you. You can't do anything about it. You clear PL illusions as well. I mean, I could see either team taking the Primal. It's just like very contested between these two teams. I think a lot of teams looked at LGD at the start of the second stage, and they're like, this is the team that is innovating the most and doing it the best on the letter patch that came out. A lot of the other teams were a little too afraid to do it. LGD was not.
They are, but Bet-Boom have been very good at taking the ideas that were good against them and playing them really well. So I just feel like this GPK Primal is what Bet-Boom needed all along. I was incredibly surprised yesterday with how they spawned the tiebreakers. I didn't expect to see this
миний сонс ч юм уу да.
I just feel like this hero opens up the way they play.
Би тэнийг сонсохгүй.
Nightfall is the only win condition on the team, and that just works for them so well when they're just relying on Nightfall. They pick an initiation hero. Doesn't care too much about his farm type of hero. On GPK, and that just looks so good for them.
Yeah, I've actually been pretty impressed with how Pure's
хоорондоо яриад.
Doom to like all
Юу вэ? Би хоёрыг хоёуланг чинь сонсохгүй
some of
шүү.
them are cheesy in the sense that they are non-typical offlane heroes.
Юу яриад.
Exactly. Юу болоод байна?
I'm more confident about Bet-Boom right now than I did during Group Stage 1. They look great.
It's hard to see that. Hard to know if he just had Doom because he was his only hero and is cool, or because people just kept.
Yeah, I would say it's probably the latter because he seemed very excited to play the like the Enchantress. He did very well with, and I think what's really good for Bet-Boom is that
Морт нэгээр орж ирээд наа. Энэ байдал бол мажор төр төлхөөс харагдаж болох гэдэг шүү.
Losing the lane, honestly, and then just farming, getting huge in the late game, then winning the late game. Like these are two entirely different play styles. Sometimes you have an offlaner or just a player that can only do one play style, but that is just not Pure's MO. This is a good player.
There's some good kill opportunity for PSG. The Ember Sky match.
Яг үндэ бараг эсрэг PL.
Damage as well, helps you kill Morphling. Not the best again.
Oh, they go for the counter, which always gets banned. I think this also, the Ember pick was a Deny pick. It would have looked really good for Bet-Boom as well. It's GPK's most played hero. It's very good against PL, and they did not have enough lockdown to deal with Ember. But now they're countered. Now they have to deal with the Necro.
I mean, we saw Shiro play Ember by accident the other day.
Necro ороод ирсэн. За. Цөөхөн орж ирж байгаа ба.
Better matchup for the mid lane. That didn't look bad at all. Like, where can you flex the Ember when you have this TL though?
Just making sure that I wasn't.
Нөлөөр авдаг үед бол Necrog ганц контролдог item маань. Нөлөөр.
Yeah. Ember offlane? I don't know. I mean,
nah, that sounds horrible. You just have to take the L on it.
I think another answer is to just get a hero that's very good against Necro in the game, because I think that's like part of the reason the hero's hard to pick and most teams don't pick it. Batrider is top tier against Necro.
За, deploy жааш, deploy жааш.
That's another one, but it's banned out because it's a good support and it's Bet-Boom of course.
Facebook дээр юу бэ байраар гэж бичээд. Манай пэйж гараад ирнэ.
Set up like chains early on, but the condition for this is that Sky has to have a good time. He has to get that level 6 early. It can't be one of those things where you have your support Sky running around level 5 at minute 13. Like, it's very important and kill this Necro. And the reason why they go for the Sky instead of the Mirana is because Sky is better at dealing with Morphling than Mirana. So now you have this kind of idea where your Sky support can potentially get 2 core kills that are really important in Morph and Necro early on, but it's entirely dependent on his lane stage going well. So I feel like it can be a solution, but it's a risky one.
Especially when they have to pick their last hero before they see the last one. They don't even know what the offlane matchup is. So.
And they ban out Axe, Primal, Darkseer, Mars. They take out all of the key offlaners that would have comboed with these heroes really well.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get into the new hero territory for Neo.
Could be tied, honestly.
Could be tied. Yeah.
Or it could be Brew, but the problem with Brew is he doesn't stay by himself on lane all too well. Like, if we're talking about how Sky has a lot on his shoulders to play versus this Necro and help his Ember out, then you need a
Таныхыг араас бол сонсож байна гэнэ.
I would generally lean towards some fight carrier though. Ideally they fit it into their all magic damage on Bet-Boom for a long time. Maybe auras work, but
Томооч өөрийг сонсогдохорог болцсон дөө.
It's a lane winner. Like this is one way to help make Sky better too. Like they're gonna have so much magic damage between the two of them that whatever gets picked, they're gonna be able to blast it. Even like Tide is not that survivable against Magic Burst. It's literally just damage between the two of them. They don't give a shit if it's cracked.
I don't know if I like the message too much.
Тэр тэгээ механик гэдээсэн үнэн болж таарсан да.
Overall, the idea of winning your lane, like morphling in the first few levels.
Окей.
Nuke, but as he gets more levels, gets a stick.
Ээлжидээ хожигдвол 2 гасраад байдаг нэ шинэ. Оо, thanks. Гэхдээ бит хожуул гинэ. Гэтэ бит бүүмэн хожуул байж болохгүй гэж. Тэр ээлжидийг хожигдсон гэж бодоод байна да.
On your team is a searing chains. You just buy Lotus Orb, which Necro loves to buy anyway. Tide buys this item anyway. You know, these heroes will dispel your own stun. So you're banking on snowballing your lanes hard enough and hoping that your PL has a good game and just winning off of that, winning out of having more farm than your enemies. But that's hard to execute.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, they have a really good 4-man lineup, like Visage looking for kills, Ember, Sky.
Харин тийм бахoo.
They're gonna be really good at skirmishing with those 4 heroes, at least while their carry hits creeps.
I agree. I think the Visage Sky lane will be very volatile. Like this could either be these two.
Хүмүүс бит бүү моолын гэдэг нь штэ духустэй. Духушил гэж бодогдоод байна да.
I don't see that stable lane. That's going to be super volatile.
Jenkins, you should probably head over, by the way.
За тэгээд яг хэлхээс намондос яаж мэдвүдээ. Тоглолтыг нь хараалуулъя.
Good luck.
Unfortunately, Cap is still taking a sick day today. Hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. But final thoughts.
Эхний map prediction байна уу? Эхний map дээр бол бит бүү мөчөө.
If LGD's lanes go badly, the way that they take their fights is going to be much more difficult than Bat-Boom who
ийм map-ыг бол бараг бит бүү мөлөж бодож байна да.
have a lot of ways of catching and
TL яг хоо борто контрол гэхдээ Necromid дээр Embracer гэвж байгаа. PL нас Tide-тай л энд ч байгаа. Тийм барагийн эсрэг PL бас яг тухтай хүн зөхиод ич чаддаг. Таны мих бүр цаана гинэ бүр амар суулуулах юм шиг байна.
Нэлээд сонссон л даа. Тэгэхгүй бол яагаад юм бэ? За одоо баг-багаар чангалж үзье. За ингээд нэг чангалж үзье. Тэгээ шоом сонсогдоод байвал багсах юм байна.
Араг стрим бар энэ ком дээр яж байгаа таны арайг Discord нэр болохоор зүг зүгээс сонсогдож байгаа байхгүй. Тэнгүүд эндээс стрим хийж болох юм байна л та яа. Нэгнийхэн их бүр цаана.
Hello ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game 1 of Bat-Boom versus LGD. This is the upper bracket finals. Avery, how you doing today?
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna be honest, man. I think you need to step your play-by-play up.
I've actually been practicing something.
Yeah, alright, hit me with it, man, because nothing can be as bad as it was.
So this is an
OD Pixel. Give me a second. I need to grab
Spirit-ийн хоёр удаа тоогож харсан.
Alright, drink some water.
Энд дээр сулхан морфодыг бол
We'll see how good Jenkins can make his OD.
Нэлмээд унааш тийм үлээ.
Hello, Avery.
Oh.
Hey, how's this?
Тэнцүүн хоёр унаад гэсэн. Necrophos Red-ээс аваад иж юм шүү дээ. Necrophos.
Hours of practice.
Red-ээс олохгүй хаа.
A little bit too much, if I'm to be honest with you. But we're here today, Bat-Boom versus PSG LGD. Avery, this game, this series, it should be phenomenal, right? This tournament so far, both of these teams have
гэж аваад байгаа даа. Spirit-үүд эсрэг. Necrophos аваад
with these two lineups, what are you expecting, Avery?
Alright, these are the two best teams. Already off. They have slowly been getting better. I feel like every game I watch them, it's a bit more convincing. They're getting less of that throwing nature that they had at some of the past tournaments out of the way. And they're becoming a bit more consistent, flowing into some of their staple picks here. I mean, the GPK Necro, that's what the K stands for, the Necro there, of course. And
За баг нэмэл байгаа тань. Гол нь хүмүүс чон сонсогдоод байвал гэж бодоод багсцсан юм л та.
And believe that this guy is eventually going to pop off in the game.
And what do you think of the pick for Neo this
That's
towards the end of the draft? What does this sort of say to you in terms of what PSG want to do this game? You know, what are they focused on primarily with this sort of lineup?
I mean, they definitely wanted to control the tempo. They don't want to let Bat-Boom get ahead here because they had a first base Phantom Lancer. If you're going to first base Phantom Lancer, you want this game to go late. You want to get the Morphling matchup to a point where he can't fight you back. I think Visage is just here to make sure your towers don't fall. At least you get objective trades, and then you have some ores for the fight. Right? If your PL has a rough start, if he falls behind on net worth, at least you buff him up with the ores, and maybe you can take the man fight.
За одоо чихвчин дээр
Game versus the Necrophos and the Tide. You probably need at least one other ore between like the Bongo Boots or Greaves or something. Then you're feeling good about your Ember and your PL taking these man fights versus the Necro, because the Ember is going to have a rough lane. I say that, but he's actually only...
It's not bad so far, right? Even on the CS, 9-1 for 9-1. And in terms of like when PSG are going to be turning up to these fights and bringing the action, I feel, you know, Bet-Boom, their lineup, they've got great ways to respond, right? If they sort of sit there, present themselves in front of towers around the Tide Hunter, the Necrophos, there could be points in the game, right, where PSG might struggle to find the damage, or do you think they'll be fine despite the beefiness of some of Bet-Boom's heroes?
I think as the game goes later, they're going to be happier cutting through it. You have a Dying Amp, you have a Skywrath Amp, so you have two ways to buff up the spell damage here. I always kind of believe Visage becomes one of those late-game offlaners that does the most damage in the fights. And the way New is probably going to itemize it, in the other Visage game he ended up going AC later on, which I really like. Would not be surprised to see something similar here and just ramp up that physical damage. This hero's universal now. The right clicks.
За одоо яаж нь одоо яаж миний хийж байна. Миний ярэ. Би чангалцаж байгаа.
I gotta say, Jenkins, you're not only are you nailing the OD impression, the analysis is really stepped up.
He's just when I'm doing the impression, I've got to make sure I keep up with the caliber that he normally brings.
Discord дээр байхгүй шүү.
I respect that. Absolutely respect it.
Одоо яаж байна.
So this mid lane, are we going to start to see it get a bit tougher for the Ember as the levels begin to come in? Or do you feel like nothing to say is going to be able to keep up as he has so far?
I'm surprised he's doing as well as he is so far. I expect this to get tougher. I mean, usually if you're Necro, you want to pull ahead in the regen. Even if the CS is even, you should be draining NTS's resources dry, shoving the wave and getting to that level 6 first. The fact that NTS is really even is why we saw LGD first phasing the Ember versus unfavorable matchups like the Timber in the first place. If he has this good a lane phase, it bodes really well for LGD going into that early mid game, because then their tempo creators fully online. Like the Visage is going to be behind here. His lane is a little rough. He's going to get out CS. He's not going to necessarily have super fast birds up. So you want the Ember to go and create the space for the Skywrath Mage combination, start proposing some threat on the board.
Yeah, and I imagine when you look at the heroes that Bet-Boom have, it should be quite a free platform.
Миний яриа угаасаа Euro орж ирэхгүй стрим.
Easy to focus and trap this Ember, if nothing to say, is playing his cards right in the early fights.
And that might just fall more to Nightfall here. Like, if he can steal Ember, turn the chains back around, throw some play to fist out. Then
Bueno.
good for Bet-Boom. But now GPK is starting to pull ahead a little bit.
Таны яриа яг надад сонсогдсон. За би таны Discord дээр жангалж өгөө. Хүмүүс зүгээр нэг жишээ.
Tokyo try and commit a charge towards mid, but this is a hard hero to charge. Maybe he feels like the connection isn't there, but the level 5 to 6.
Одоо гоё наа зүгээр энэ. Одоо яг зүгээр тэр гоё хэвээр байгаа л энэ үү? Хүмүүсээ. Ингааг ихэл зүгээр. Энэ нөгөө нэг болох гээд байна.
Яагаад цаана байгаад байна? Юу хэрэглэхгүй та ба. Би уг нь хэвээрэл байгаад байна да.
Is it going to be Blade Mail? Is it going to be Radiance? Is it going to be Midas?
What do you sort of feels tends to
Одоо зүгээр ер нь болохгүй дээ шүү. Тэгээд Discord дээр яг дэж орж ирсэн гэж.
How good your mid game, your mid matchup is going. Is it you sort of looking at the other lanes and feeling like what do I
do? Танихтэй ингэж жоохон суулаа байхгүй юу? Микэл чангалах хэрэгтэй энэ одоо.
Чангалын дээр хамгийн чангалын дээр л
So whatever itemization he feels like is going to slow down the PL in the fights the most, he's probably going to go for here. So that's probably Radiance and at some point Shiva's Guard, but he might do that Blade Mail in between.
Good back up here from Toronto Tokyo. Planet came in with a rotation. Bet-Boom, they turn it around and GPK set up to take nothing.
Чангаснаа одоо суул болчлоо. Бүр сонсогдохын аргагүй суул биш үстэй. Яг л нэг нормал болсноо. Эсвэл бүр ингэ байхгүй болсноо.
And it's got to be careful. If they come back in with a charge.
Yeah, this is a super high threat order now.
За одоо чангарсан баг хэвчээ да.
Одоо хоёрыг ялагдаа хэлчихлээ.
Not a lot of silent pressure to draw off of this middle lane right now, and they are staying there.
Одоо чангарсан л баг хэвчээ.
Let's have a look. I mean, both supports for PSG as well.
Catapult wave 2. This is lining up really nice. He's still half a level off 6 here.
Onto him, so that will help.
Одоо зүгээр ч юм уу суул болчлоо тавхын руу нүүцэн өгш.
Одоо чангах хэвээр да. Одоо нэлээд чангах хэвээр да.
Үгүй нэлээд чангах шана. Би яг энэ юунаас бол
Of course, you know.
YouTube-ээс үзэж яхад бол тэгж яахгүй л байна.
Get the better RNG upgrades.
Чангахгүй нөө.
За хүмүүс яг ингээд үзэж байгаад хөөрөмжүүдээ бүгдээрээ чангалаад үзтээ тэгэл.
Their lanes are definitely stronger. So I
See,
expect
that
them to
is
have this sort of start here. They've also shown they are a lane dominating team at this tournament. I think only gaming is as strong in the early laning phase. Definitely not LGD strength. They're like the 15 to 30 minute mark.
За одоо тэгээд зүгээр бол явцгаая да. Ной туул дээр хийлийн орлого стикерээр шилжүүлсэн стэт.
The one thing I like about that is at least you get the wisdom rune. Like Toronto Tokyo is going for this play because he just wants to create.
YouTube дээр байгаа дууга жоохон сулуулах юм уу?
So that's pretty nice. A big kill distance was. These side lanes for LGD are a problem right now. Then 3 minutes. If you decide to linger or just get your ass. I mean, Shiro, he's just.
Shiro дээрээс гээд хоёр талаас нь carry-г нэг унгаач байгаа юм байна.
Great awareness there to abuse the fact that of course earlier the TP's coming in from PSG LGD supports taking them down bottom. They knew there was no one.
За ингээ явъя гэнэ. За явъя.
The only person who can respond in this LGD draft is NTS, and he had probably the worst lane match. But it's still a bad one, so he's getting his resources.
Оо ямар шаарлага өндөр. Үзэж байгаа хүмүүс ч одоо тэг үзэж байгаа юм дээрээ шаарлага тавих нь зүг л төө.
За чаржлаад ороод ирсэн. Бааш орж байна. Инвисэн аваад. Ваа юм шиг байна.
Тага надад байхгүй зүгээр яа та. Ярта. За. Одоо ярта. Нэг ялгаагүй нөө байхгүй. Доод байгаа шиг харагдаад тийм шээ.
How is PSG LGD slowing this down? What sort of you look towards as being sort of the item or the level in which you can group up, maybe look to do something to catch Bet by surprise or respond to their play. Bottom lane, the kills, they just continue to keep coming in for Bet. They take out Planet, they take out a Tombstone, the gold for Bet, it continues to skyrocket.
The reverse not what you want to see here if you're LGD. I feel like it has to be getting you 6 here.
Цаан дуурайд байгаа хүн гэдэг нь найзлаа.
Combine the Visage and the Ember and get at least one of these cores off the lane for Betboom. It's either the Morph or the Necro. It's just going to require when you also don't have those support ultis, which is all your damage in the early game.
Нэмэт нийтэр страйк байгаа. Энэ дээр бол хийлийг гүйцэж юм байна. Харин шуугал байхгүй болохгүй бол өөр миг залгасан чинь яг шуугал нь байхгүй болоо. Тэгмүүтээ миг нь жоохон туулна гэдэг байгаа байхгүй юу? Энэ дээр нэг згсуулах юм орж ирэх юм байна л да. За болж ивэл өнөөдөрт ингээ явчууламар байна. Ингээ зүгээр ингээ угаасаа табах ярихгүй энэ дөө. Чигээ хараг мэддэг. ITP-с хийгээрээ дэрсэн Toronto Tokyo-ийн дисал амьд гарахаар болж байгаа шиг байна. 6-4 битгүүн талаа 3000 нийт орны илүүтэй. Ихний хайтмар Solar авсагуулах юм байна юу?
Yeah, honestly, I've been impressed with NTS's game. Like, it doesn't look great on the net worth, but
нэг өстөйгөө авчихаар л нэг гоё ялдаг доо. Гэтэ network-ийн бүр 6 дээр явж байгаа мessage юм байна. Sky-тагаа ойролцоо network-тэй болсон.
Put him on the breaker in the fight. It's pretty hard for Betboom to deal with unless the Tide Hunter wants to join. Pure, he's a greedy boy. He's going to continue to just farm, scale into his items. Those are the numbers LG's.
Тэгээд diffuse гарах гал фармдж байгаа. Diffuse гарахад бол одоо ихэд нэг 800 гол хэрэгтэй харагдаж байна.
Just a huge disadvantage on the map right now.
And for Shiro, as a PL when you're in this sort of game, I mean, to what point are you sort of hoping that your team doesn't start losing the tier 2s? You know, when can Shiro turn up to the action? Is it sort of that second half?
Ихний хайтмараас ман таваад дараагийн хайтмар мэдээж яг нэм авах. Чиж би Ember 2-оо тухгүй тоглоулна. Айлтай хөнөөлтөө лайтм аа.
I can't hold off anymore. I'm gonna have to join a fight.
GPK ингээд реднес авах юм байна ах юм байна. Эхлээд бол автоос авцсан. Тэгээд реднес юм байна. Атүти страйк энэ дээр за Reaper Snipe бол хадгалчихж байгаа юм байна. Тэгээд charge авахыг бол яахгүй байна.
5k lead 11 minutes in. Bet-Boom completely crushing the early game.
I mean, he might have to join these fights with just defusal at this rate. The issue is that's when the PL is the weakest. You're going in with one item and no defensibility against Necro Tide. Even the Spear Breaker charges. Rubik stealing spells. It's a lot of AoE magic damage to pump in.
Зяад хавмаг стортын илүүтэй.
And this is going to be a second item Radiance for GPK and
Автоос авсан микрофос яваа.
With how quickly they're taking the map objectives, and highly likely that when Shiro does turn up, he's going to have to fight into that Radiance, which is not going to be fun at all. GPK is going to just instantly destroy the army of PL illusions that try and throw themselves at him.
Just the sustain for the lineup as well. Like, if Pure decides to go back for some auras here, then you're looking at a Necro who can itemize Greedy, and he has a Tide Hunter building.
Амар суулаа надад хэврээ. Яг
Necro is absurdly tanky here. Let's see what Pure decides to go for. He's looking at Blink. This is a very offensive build as well. Maybe he just wants to get the Ravage in there and start slaying the PL on the map.
Одоо бүр байхгүй.
A blink at this sort of pace is just it's just going to rub salt into the wound.
Сайн бол нөгөө Red-red залгаад үзэх юм уу?
It's so difficult for them to deal with. Why you smile? It's going to get caught in the crashing down of the meteor.
Тэрийг залгаад нөгөө сууллаад. Юмар өндөрлөд гэсэн бол гартаа бариад явж үзэхгүй.
To the meteor hammer. Pure, he'll opt for the TP out. Doesn't want to stick around as Shiro begins to burn down his mana.
Яг одоо та Discord дээр ярихгүй.
Finish. I mean, on decent time for Shiro, he'll at least get some space off of this. But Pure to TP mid, he did
За одоо.
За одоо бол чангой.
Гайгүй.
It will GPK.
Одоо яг хоо чанга суулын үед бол гайгүй шээ.
They do not want to give the PL any space. This game could turn very ratty.
Ингээд явъя та.
You have the Ember Spirit.
За дефенстэй үзсэн Shiro.
За тийм дээ ингэж явж байгаа завсар стандарт хий та. Ингээд тэрэн явхад тэрэн болохоор байна тий. Окей.
The catch is decent in the fight but pretty bad on them.
Грэвчилтэй.
Spear Breaker, which good luck landing a connection here.
5 net орсон зэрэг.
So LGD, they're gonna have a decent chance to stall this game out, but they really need the space to do it, which means you gotta fight with your Visage. You gotta get these tier 1 downs. Maybe that Tide Hunter TP to mid. Pure might be regretting it here. It's gonna open up a little bit of a window of LGD just want to force down.
Реднес аваад ирвэл үнэхээр амар ч юм уу?
See how safe Nightfall plays. Probably doesn't want to show himself. Oh, yeah, has got backup coming in. So may set them up. I mean, Nightfall will reveal on the lane.
Реднес авсан микрофос.
Тийм Атос авсан. Атоснах дараа Реднес ах шиг байсан.
I mean, you do see the response from PSG LGD. As soon as they see Nightfall show himself, this lad is not on his own. We need to get out of here. So they immediately bail on this operation.
That's just more benefit for Bet-Boom. If Nightfall can show aggressively and they get space,
he's going to lead into the high ground. He's actually able to take out one of the familiars.
PSG лаажтнаас гадна Bet-Boom бас юм лааж байсан л та.
Telekinesis helps keep the Undying in position. Spider Fist is there.
Fantastic
player. They've taken out save.
Тийм бол хамаг Reaper Snipe гэдэг юм байна.
Заалаачлаа штэ.
Маш гоё байдлаас үзсэн.
One being the
carry нэмээд андаа ингээс авчих юм байна.
GPK, he was having none of that.
I think Pure got a lot of those ancients too. I think he was hammering the ancients more than yeah, I mean, why not?
Beyond the
tower.
From Pure. As they and they can start putting pressure onto this tier 2.
This 5-man is not a 5-man you are fighting into if you're LGD, and we saw it there. That's a high ground.
King game нэг бирээ нүг асуулаа. Bet-Boom орсон уу? Bet-Boom гэж хэлсэн.
I guess the zombies clear a little bit of it out, but this is Shiro trying to get involved, instantly punished. He just doesn't have enough illusions up. The zombies are doing a little bit. NTS has a shield room. And still, you're getting nothing out of this exchange except save. Not happy about that one, but he'll bite the bullet for the overall team good here. Yeah. And now you're up to 7K.
Big risk to take, turning up as the PL, but clearly, you know, these risks have to be taken when you're in this sort of spot. 15 minutes in, down 7K yes, the LGD know that they're going to have to take some drastic action to find some sort of chance of breaking back into this game 1.
I think that is a fight Shiro should go to, but he also has to be coming in a little later, or on a better target.
Тэгшээр аргалчаар олон юм байна да. Ганц дефус л авсан. Энийг бол тайд 3 дахь PL-ээс бол дэмэж гарахгүй. Тайд дээр гэх юм бол бүр дэмэж гарахгүй.
I think PL Ags is probably LGD's best
Тэгээ
time.
тайдынхаа манаг сорох хэрэгтэй. Тэгжээж өөрөө 3 болохгүй. Байна хин. Яг нэм гараад ирвэл гоё гэж бодчихсон ч гэсэн төрүүлээд өөртөө яашаа гаавна гэдэг шийдэлсэн юм байна.
On top of the tombstone of the birds. But that's a lot to farm to here for Shiro. Is that Ags is a dream after Yasha, which he doesn't even have.
GPK, just a talisman away from.
Энэ тэмцээн чинь тэгээд эвгүй байсаар бол эхний 2 өдрөл тайжгүй байсан. Тэгээд үний юм аа. Одоо тэгээд энэ дээр заавал үнэнгээсээ тоглож шнэ. Энэ чинь топ 3 баг үлдчихэд байгаа байхгүй юу? Топ 3. 3 баг үлдсэн. Одоо энэ Афрын семифинал, Маркашл Говны финал, Афрын финалтайг болон тэгээд дуусна.
So will manage to jump away. He's going to stick around, grab some of the Lotuses. Toronto Tokyo still got eyes on him. Chains are there though. Nothing to say. Still an extra remnant to play with, as they won't continue to spend any further time hunting for him. He'll get out.
Энтээс 3 короос хамгийн гайгүй байгаа юм.
And he's going to have to keep doing that for a long time at this rate.
But итгэхгүй байгаа штэ саанаас.
He cannot take the safe farm away from his Phantom Lancer, and he also has to force.
Тэгээс энэ хоёрыг нэг яг жигнэсээ төгсөж. Битгүүг нөгөө сангалтай илүү л гэж бодчихсон.
NTS to be in, but we have seen him excel at it before, and at least you
got.
So in theory, you can start to get into that Radiant jungle, take away some farm, trade out the net worth a bit more evenly, but the vision is punishing you very hard right now, as LGD do not have a lot of space to operate, and those Radiant observers are seeing pretty much everything right now.
On top lane, taking a look for the
charge that out of this strike.
There's a Ravage.
I'm going to hold back on using it. High chance even with the Ravage stun wouldn't be quite enough.
Гараа явж байгаа мэнаа. BKB-тэй болтлоо. Өөрөө чөлөөтэй тоглохгүй.
They know they're in a comfortable spot.
And they much rather take these fights for LGD.
Дээрээс нь хараад байгаа. Нэг хүн нэмэгдээд ирэх юм бол шууд урсаад орж болно. Нэг хүн DP хийснээр шууд ороод ирсэн. Ер нь Reaper Side-ийг charge авахгүй ш нэг яахгүй шүү. Гэлээ. Хариг тоглоомд хийхгүй шүү.
NTS try and make it up on the other end.
Save. Caught by the chains, but stolen chains used in turn to hold back. Nothing to say.
That just feels bad.
They can't quite kill him. Save. He's able to walk off. As PSG LGD don't want to jump up into the high ground. And bottom lane, Shiro, he's been found by Toronto Tokyo. Knife for the bash is there.
Нэг бас онгацсан 40 минут. Victoria мөрөө тэсний Reaper Side орж ирээд
Reaper Side from GPK with a side.
Ангалтай ажээ.
And the carry eliminated once again.
On top of that Rubik living.
Цэвдэр нэг цохоод удаашруулсан. Оо энэ чи мангас жижиг зомби болсон юм шүү дээ.
Undying zombie himself. The kills just continue to roll in here for Bat-Boom.
Yeah, there's just no room to operate. I mean, the second your NTS Ember's off the map, everything is going to collapse here for LGD. It's just a feeding frenzy for Tokyo. Nothing is stopping this spear breaker right now.
Бараг дуусна стомпоч хоорлоо. Actively strike. Eight ball ороод ирсэн. Тэлийг бол гүйцэх юм байна. Night ball-ийн weak zik. 7 дараалсан гейт болсон.
At least attempt to. That Radiance was finished by GPK. That is incredibly fast Atos Radiance here. You do not have the auras up. You do not have the 5-on-5. It is definitely going to be split push action now for LGD. It's just a matter of can you do it without getting caught. So far, you've not been able to get much off the map. This is doubled in the last 3 minutes. Pure's got a pipe on top of everything.
Гайв нэгэн дуусангууд унтраад эндээс эхлээ таас гүр хуучин мекер явж үзэх үү?
It's going to be very very difficult for PSG LGD. I mean, where does their best bet lie? Is it going to be around?
Одоо ингээд би ингээд юм ярингууд яг наач хэвч болохоор миний ярьж байгаа юм ингээд давхар надад сонсогдоод байна л да Discord дээр. Айгууд орж ирээд байна. Одоо үтсэн ингээд энэ төгөлтөл ингээд дуусъя дөө.
Тэгснэ миний яриа орохгүй мөртөө чиний яриа чам сонсогдоод байгаа шүү.
Тэний яриа орж ирж байгаа.
Ирж байгаа юм уу?
Амар сул байгаа. Тэгэнгүүтээ миний яг ингээд ярьж байгаа юм надад сонсогдонгуудаа давхарлаа байгаа юм да. Хуучин микшн зүгээрсэн байна да.
Like you have a bait overextension, basically, where they go in with a bad Ravage where the damage doesn't line up.
Гауган зүгээрсэн юу оролдоо тавпагаараас авчих.
Game in the near future, it's got to be the Rubik, the Spear Breaker, and maybe the Morphling. Which means you need Bat-Boom to jump hard and be in a position where they just messed up.
Is there a specific tier 2 that's, from what you've been seeing on this patch, tends to be the more appealing one to defend? You know, the one that pro teams do put more effort into trying to hold?
I'd say they're pretty even. I mean, maybe the tier 2 safe lane. I think that tends to be one people like because you can get in these trees on the upper side. You can get a high ground cliff forward and then just be around the flank. But that's also like going into a high ground into your own dire jungle. Tombstone. So wherever they feel like they can accomplish that, I am all for it. These tombstones are going to melt if they are not displaced somehow. And look, little cheeky road for it,
They're very aware. And they do have the ult to the ready already. Toronto Tokyo now full starting to try and push them out of the pit. Backups coming in. PSG, they've got to get out of here. Planet won't have the luxuries.
Тэнгүүт над шуумч болохоор надад сонсогдохгүй байгаа байхгүй. Тэнгүүтээ би дэлгэснээсээ дамжуулах юм бол наа чин ер нь бол байхгүй болчих واخ. За цайл дараа тим юм хийж үзье дөө.
A little bit of a flash of vision there with the meteor hammer, but Neo, he's got to have the TV, but a great charge across the map.
Okay. Шууд Reaper Siphon дээр damage нь хангалттай үрцээ. Энд миний харж байгаагийн 3 дахь Reaper Siphon байлаа. Reaper Siphon хийх болгонд өөр дээр mana rage нь heal rage нь авдаг болсон. Одоо мянган чинь.
You're giving him way too much credit.
Dude, this guy's a TI.
Гагийнх нь асуулт шүү. Би өгөөд энэ бүр юу ч хийхгүй байгаа даа шүү.
As you have collected kills, but not the other end.
Minuscule HP. Toronto Tokyo gets not even able to
stick around. Нэг тийм төгөргөөтэй маягийн л байгаад байгаа юм байна шүү дээ, тий. Ойлонгийн залгаж барангуут.
I feel like it's one of those things where like, oh, they're not going to think we're doing it because we're showing 2 cores on the map and maybe we'll get away with it, but boom, pretty well, get the punish, and get that Roshan was probably theirs no matter what. At least you're not losing too many cores, but you're telling me this is...
Амар дээр одоо PL-ийн эсрэг Morphe агним гараад ирсэн, дээрээс нь Necrogen Radiance гараад ирсэн. Тэгээд type гэдэг батар угаасаа байгаад байгаа.
I think that was more of a I'm pretty good at this game smile, you know. He was like, I'm good, you know. He knew that. Good stuff from Toronto Tokyo. Gets him another kill. Keeps this lead and continuing to blow to incredible proportions here. 17 now.
Yeah. Энэ юм болоод эндээс юм байна шүү дээ. Баарагийн шаард ороод ирсэн. Эхний target skill-ийг өөр дээр аавна. Тэгэхээр энэ дээр шууд silence баараа дээр ороод ирэх юм байна. Henry нэг target PL-ийн нэг Sage-ийн нэг 2 Gain 3 skill байна да. Бусд нь бол target биш skill байна. Ёо.
Дайд чи юу вэ? Holy Lock-тор нийлээд байгаа.
Тэ. Holy Lock-д болж болно. Оо, Necrobor зүрх гаргаж ирж байгаа юм байна шүү дээ. Trasquig-ийн зүрхийг гаргаж ирж байгаа юм байна. Heart of Trasquig. Heart of Trasquig.
See what they can do around this mid lane. Pure. Level 15.
Hex гаргах юм байна
online too. More lockdown with what I assume is a hex here and heart done for GPK.
Яа, зүрх гараад ирсэн. Одоо Necroch алхад эцүүл болчихлоо доо.
Yet to die this game of course 5-0-5.
Yeah, when GPK has 0
Саа далаар нөхдөг. Зүгээр байх та. Яа. Атаас назахсан очлоо.
As they're going to be ready to push towards the high ground pretty shortly.
This game just collapsed so fast for LGE. It's like the first 5 minutes. These lane matches are way too bad for the lineup to take any sort of recovery fight, and they're still trying to look for anything on this map. I mean, 5 kills for a team that has been pretty dominant in the mid game. This is just a straight outclass right here. That Ember pick getting massively exposed. As GBK puts on a Necro Clinic.
The PL-ийн дуусгаас өмнө бол double gank-ийг 2 illusion гаргаад намжиж байгаа юм байна.
Boom are immediately punishing your base.
Yep, no reason to go anywhere.
Тэнгээс 25 минутанд шууд мэдийг нь зөхөд эхэлсэн.
More than happy to take any sort of fight that PSG throw themselves into. There goes. Is Planet dive forward here with the waveform, and now even though that they have Shiro back up, they don't have the full lineup.
You can start the poke here, throw the slides and throw the lances and drains the mana.
Decent
зарим
damage to
мэддэг
Nightfall, but
байгаад
he's still got
некрогийн шо баачтай юм байна.
the Aegis to rely on. Jump forward, they're looking for the Undying. They've got
Бүсгийнх
him.
нөгөөд бол
GPK with a double.
Митүү бандтай юм
Even
байна.
the hammer
They're
landing
going for
here.
more.
Тэгээ
Push
өргөд нааштай
forward.
байсан
There's
сэрэг
the
chain.
Raving New and Shiro. There's the
Нэмээд
Raving
За
New.
бай.
Two of them. Shiro's got a new
Бараг
as well.
зарсан ч болохоор энэ.
They're running out of buttons.
За зарлээ.
Everything. GG is called. Bet-Boom come in incredibly explosive here in this game one. 26-6, 27k lead, 25 minutes in. This is Bet-Boom at peak form.
Really
There was no stopping them in this game.
I mean, this is their MO. If they can win lanes, they're going to take it every time, and they're just going to run over the map. They're still a very confident late-game team. Like, even if this game went late, it's not just 100-0 that LGD win it, right? And if they go into game 2, they're definitely going to be thinking about these matches more, definitely thinking about how to get to their mid-game more. If you're Bet-Boom, you're definitely you gave up 2 kills between all 3 of your cores. GPK with a perfect game, and Pure Nightfall only falling once, and that was pretty much in the early game. I mean, say but otherwise, looking pretty damn good.
Баалын гейминг ахад авах гэнэ мэдгүй. Гейм энэ үеэр бол авахаргуулаар гэж байна да.
Tokyo 3-2-19 involved in 22 of the 26 kills that they had. This Spirit Breaker in a
За нэг өнтөр энэ дээр асууж үзэх үү?
This might have to go over.
I think it's the best hero of this tournament. Like, I think he's at the point where he's probably just going to take Spirit Breaker into the pool. Irrelevant of the other heroes in the game. He's just way too comfortable.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. What a game one from Bet-Boom. We'll see if PSG LGD can step it up in game 2. But as for now, Bet-Boom, they'll take game 1 of this best of 3.